Good morning, folks. Sunday morning. And this is the last time you guys will see this Papal army. Well, we're not painting them right now. So we just got done with them last night. And I don't know how many videos it's been. Probably 16, 20, something like that. Getting these guys done. So here they are in all their glory. So we got these complete. There's a couple of other versions of the army that I can do at a later date, but they're playable now. And that's what we're going to leave them as. We still have a Knight General that we're going to come back and do at a later point. But the whole point in this army was to play them with a Litter General, just to see how that works. Do it in videos, and I'm sure a Knight General would be more effective. But that was the whole purpose of doing the army. Then it's kind of cool. An army that I don't know anybody that has ever played it. Now, they just did a poll on Fanaticus recently where people are entering what armies you have. And I think pretty much every army is covered. Whether that's accurate or not, who knows. But I've never seen somebody bring this Papal Italian army to a tournament. So that's part of the reason I wanted to do it. That and a little litter guy. So, anyhow, so here they are. In all their glory. Now, all these figures were specifically made for this army, with the exception of these two over here. These are actually blades that are from my Russian army, which they're actually Germans, which is what they would be in this army, and the horde, which is just kind of a common horde that I use for lots of different things. So these aren't specifically made for this army. These were made for all the other stuff. These were made specifically for them. So, anyhow, a little bit of a cheat there, but I'm not going to paint European hordes for every army that has European hordes. They're not that exciting to paint. Even if they do have their pants down like that guy. But, anyhow, we'll put these guys away, and we're going to go head back to book 1, where I've painted a figure and a half of that. We got to finish the Amorites. So those of you that are fans of biblical type period things, yeah, we'll keep you entertained for the next month or so, painting that stuff. If you like heraldry, go take a nap. Okay. All right, those guys are out. The Pope has left the building. All right, cleanish slate. So we have this guy complete, and this guy we were working on. We're doing the 2 stands of skirmishers, so they're all the same pose. They're all Essex. The entire army is Essex, actually. Speaking of which, let's see if I can find this. I was alerted to something yesterday, and I figured I would bring it to your attention. So I got notified by Chris Brantley of Fanaticus fame that C&B Miniatures is no longer doing the mail order business. And sure enough, if you go to cmbminis.com, C&B Miniatures is currently offline and will be so until further notice. CMB Minis still plans to attend Barrage and Historicon 2021 and all HMGS East conventions and work with Essex and remain a viable business. Bob promises to take care of this approximately 20 customers he owes figures to, and he knows who are paid for. If you prefer, refund arrangements will be made instead. Please stop by regardless. As for U20, a by name record with an original order gift certificate will be waiting. Please pick it up or make arrangements too. All the figures U20 have ordered should be there to fill back orders and a few orders. If any of U20 cannot attend Historicon 2021, please will be in touch for those who cannot attend. If not, free shipping will be arranged for your original figures and gift certificates. Please stop trying to get in touch. The electronic record is clear, and CMB Minis has both significant personal medical issues and family issues complicating recovery. Hope to see you at the conventions. Please take care and our sincerest apologies. So that's really a shame. I've gotten pretty good service from them, and hopefully they get whatever that is sorted out. They ship quick. They seem to have a lot of stock on hand, and really easy to deal with. And especially in this day and age, that shipping across the pond is just brutal. So for those of us that want to order, 4 to 8 packs, I'm sure you could probably get some kind of a discount if you're ordering, $100 or $200 worth of miniatures. But that won't be me. I'm never going to order $200 worth of miniatures ever again. It's not going to happen. It's DBA, and well, the most I would order would be an entire army, and I don't think you can get up to those numbers. So I got plenty of lead in my backup pile that I don't need to order that many things to keep it going. So anyhow, hope they do all right, and go from there. All right. Yeah, a lot of things are old. What's his name? And I haven't heard from the Roundway guy in a long time. John, I think his name is John Roberts. He was having health issues before the COVID stuff, so hopefully he's doing okay. A lot of people were having trouble communicating with him, but I can't say it was easy to get a hold of him, but I did get a hold of him. So all right, let's move him to the side. He's done. He's been done. All right, we got flesh done on him. We need to do the what do you got left? Hair and the bow case, and he's done. Not a lot to do on these figures. I think that's the fan. Although I didn't hear it earlier. Let's go to number 5. It can always be cooler. All right, what colors did we use? Because we like what we did there. Oh, snap, I don't remember. That was like a leather color, I think. Let's see, what could it have been? Let's take a look at it again. It doesn't have to be exactly right, but guess that's the disadvantage about starting to work on these guys without working on something else. I forgot. Well, I was finishing up. I was waiting for the crossbows, the Papal crossbows, to come in. And as soon as I got one figure done, they came in. Pretty sure it's this one. And as soon as these 4 figures are done, we're going to go ahead and base them. Okay, so we'll have kind of an idea of what the basing theme for the army is going to be, what the ground color and the tough situation is going to be for them. So looking forward to doing that. All right. Let's get the black out of here. I think it's might be a slow morning today. Well, that's unfortunate. Usually Sunday mornings are the busiest ones for me. Most people come in on that day. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, but I'm going to have to go to a smaller brush. This one's, I'm going to have to use a brush similar to something I'd use for a face. See if we can get away with this one. It should be fine. So after the session yesterday, I did a bunch of surfing for 15mm fantasy things and try to watch a couple videos of Dragon Rampant. There's not a whole lot out there that's real clear, but I enough to whet my appetite. Good morning, Harvey. Welcome. So They're that's what I like to do. I'll get like some wild hair and then I'll go and brush it and then back to normal. I just like the idea of doing that, not necessarily doing that. I don't need to slow the production of DVA armies per year. I may be able to get up to 3 armies a year, but that's questionable. And I'm not going to cut corners to produce more. That's not my. That's not how I operate. Cutting corners is really unsatisfying to me. Now, how did we do color matching? I think it's the right color. No, I was just thinking, what colors have I used recently? And like I said, had I not hopped on between these guys and a crossbowman, then it wouldn't be an issue. But I wanted to keep moving. I don't want to be like, well, what I need to paint next isn't here, so let me go do something else. I'm like, well, we know have to get these guys done, so. Kevin, welcome. Haven't seen you in a few days. Welcome back. Well, we're on to book 1, so if you're fans of people that don't wear shoes and or helmets for the most part, you're in the right place. If you're a fan of heraldry, go take a nap. Hey, Dirk. Thank you. Yep, we're done with those guys for now, so. There's a couple more units I could do for the Papal army. Certainly the Knight General, but I don't have the figure I want to use here for it, and I don't want to order them. And that's not really the purpose of that army. Is the only time I really can see using the Knight General in that army is if we're going to play Collision Course, and then I just still use the Pope stand as the baggage element. 2-for-1 sale on that. So I need to get these guys done for the show if they have it. If they have the show. Maybe I should just not get them done. That way there'll be a show. Because you know how that's how it works. Well, I'm still going to play that weekend, and I'm still playing all the events. It just may not be at the venue in Orlando. It may be local. But that's what I mean if they have a show. I don't want to do that. I'd rather do it down there. But we'll see. Either way, I'm not working on that Friday. Or Saturday or the Sunday. I'll be gaming. I mean, really, I got to learn from last year where I had a problem at the end of the year taking all the days off because I canceled everything. And then had all these days at the end of the year I couldn't use. Leftover days. I really don't want to take a day off to sit on my lily at home. But you just got to power through this stuff. Like, I didn't film it, but at the end of the day yesterday, after I sprayed my crossbow figures, I had to go and glue them, and then wait for the glue to dry, and then put the goop on them, and then wait all day. I think I started painting them about 6 p.m. So they didn't sit even 12 hours. So by the time 8 rolled around, they were done. Or so. I want to do other stuff. I didn't necessarily want to finish painting the crossbows, but it's like I came this far to do it. Why not? See if we can take a little bit of that paint off. Where it's sticking here. This stuff works pretty well to get the paint removed. It takes a little bit more elbow grease than I would like. But regardless of what other people think, I don't. Once these cheap ass brushes start getting misshapen, there's not really any way bringing them back. Would you spec for 40 cents each? I cut the paint off. It still has a little fluff there on the end. Got this one bristle. I'll set this one off to the side. Let's switch to the other one. I'm going sideways a little bit too. Okay. Right, so that one was white. We're gonna do some red striping on this one a little bit. Let's get this right here. 4 people on. Waking up slowly. Yeah, so I took a look at some fantasy miniatures, the 15 millimeter. Not that I was gonna buy any, but just to see what was out there. And I was doing laundry, so I needed to listen to something. I had a couple of things from Dragon Rampant. I'm surprised how little amount of Dragon Rampant stuff's out there, but not really interested in playing a tournament type thing. If I was gonna do it again. So I saw, well, this is 5 points, and this one's 6, and that one's not a good value, and just play the game with the figures you have. If you guys didn't watch the feed yesterday, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm not getting into that. I can't even paint my World War II stuff. I can't even get the motivation to paint my World War II stuff where there's a rule set I like. It's just overwhelming how much I have to do to do it, to get it running. No, not roning, running. Let's go over here to the red side. got here? Having seen your photos on Facebook, your Papal Army is splendid. Great piece of work. Well, thank you. We'll see how he fights. The photos, as the person who's here and has front row tickets, they look like the pictures on Facebook. They don't look like whatever the hell you guys are seeing here. Something happens when, I assure you, I have awesome light right here, but it doesn't translate well onto the video camera, always. So, but with the camera, you know, the human eye is a marvelous thing and can see a lot better than these cameras can do. But yeah, I had the wife take those pictures. Something about her camera's better than mine, and mine's just as new as hers. I don't know. I don't like to tinker with this. I tinker here. I don't want to. I don't tinker with electronic things. I don't have the personality type for that. So I'll take a picture. Like, I'll take like 10 or 12 pictures of it, and I pick the best one of it, and it's just not good enough. So I called her in to take the pictures of that. You know, it's like you see something, and then you take a picture of something, and what you get is not what you saw. So we have to call her in, and her phone is closer to being able to do that. All right. Well, these supposedly, one of the colors they use is red for these little tassels. So what we're going to do is, we're going to use our artistic license and say, you know what, the red these guys probably had wasn't that good quality. So we're not going to come all the way up to this color and then lighten it up. We're going to stop somewhere short of it and lighten it up. And that way it'll be a little bit more subtle color. So that's going to be, it's going to be a subtle colored army, pretty much. I mean, think about it. They're running around in the desert, you know. In 1300 to 1500 BC type period, you know. Shit's just going to fall apart. It's probably not together when they started. That's my artistic. Oh, we need a little bit more than that. That's my artistic license, you know. I see way too many armies that, in my opinion, are too bright for what they should be. But, you know, that's what the painter wants them to look like. It's their army. Just not my cup of tea. I don't know what's going on here. I think there just isn't enough paint here. All right, let's tinker with this. All right, now let's try this. That's better. We'll see how the Pope does in battle. I think he'll do better than they did historically, which isn't saying much. I know you're going to find this strange, but I'm not that excited to play them. But I say that all the time when I'm done with an army. I'm not really that excited to paint them. To play them. I've spent a lot of time with them already. Just in getting them done. I'm more excited to paint a new army than I am to play in one I already have. I said I can get my game on playing something else. It doesn't have to be DBA. We'll see when that army makes its debut. Probably before the show. When? I don't know. I don't know if I'll go over there tomorrow. It's too busy at work. Too busy and too much running around, and well, we're really busy and I got to get out by this amount of time, and then when I get home I got to pack all this stuff, and then to get the video equipment and film it and get it all stuff, and I'm still hot out here, and then I got to come back and do a video and I got to film it, and man, I need to go to bed, but I got to put this video out. Why isn't it uploading? You know, you get the picture. It's not all fun and games. It's actually not the work, it's the rush. I get rushed at my normal job constantly, and I don't want any more of it. So it's the rush. I don't mind doing it, but this the world is frickin' ending kind of pace is just frickin' stupid. So back with another headache today. Jeez. Be right back. Let me go take some meds. A little bit of one. Went a long time without getting a headache. Now I've had it 2 days in a row. All right. I'd rather have just about anything than a headache. Little arrow, the fletching. Hard to get excited about doing that in any color other than white, especially this time period. Not gonna waste dye on that. You're not gonna get feathers. Not gonna get fletching from a red bird that flies over the desert. Been waiting a long time for that. All right, let's do this guy's hair. Oh, that guy was a black-haired guy. All right, well, we need to go ahead and put the black hair everywhere, and then we'll lighten up with some brown. A little bit. brown out. This one will work in a pinch. This needs to be a little bit, not dramatically brown. He's kind of dark skinned a little bit, so we don't want it to be too close to that color, or it's just going to all blend together and you won't be able to tell that you did all this extra detail on there and it's just lost. You're just creating busy work for yourself. Okay, we're going to call this guy done. That's 2 down. 2 to go. Slightly the same, but slightly different. Well, there's not a whole lot of choices of wardrobe there. All right. So we're going to use a color shirt that's a little lighter color. Maybe this one right here as a base. Silver gray. It's the opposite of yesterday. Lots of people, not many likes. Yesterday it was few people, lots of likes. Sunday seems to have more people than Saturday. Maybe there's less honeydew lists on Sunday. Could be. If you don't have a honey, what do? What's a honeydew list? It's a to-do list. And you don't give yourself a hard time if you don't get it completed. Would that be ever so slightly different? Hey, that guy doesn't paint, so it really doesn't matter. He's working today. Ha! Joke's on him. This is his Friday. This is Friday morning for him. So, no, that top's not going to work. Wow, what's in that water? Good thing I never did drugs. That should work just fine. Let's just go ahead and cover some of this stuff up with black, just for good measure. do need to get a brown out here as a mixer. You see it's pretty much dead. So see if we can get chocolate brown out here. That's probably be a good one for that. And we'll use this for the darkener instead of the black. So it'll be less gray like for his clothes. We'll save some of those gray colors for some of the shields. Hint. We'll see how that turns out. It's supposed to have like goat skin shields, so go look at goats, see what color goats are, and that's the color of the shields. All right. Was it this dude? Because I still missed a spot. Oh well. I'm not too worried about that. All right, let's get in. Let's see. Let's go here. Should be fine. We shouldn't have to go darker than that. Uh-oh. I'm here to help you get things done. There you go. Yep. Getting all biblical today. Or is this pre-biblical? I don't know. I don't know anything about these Amorites, Ammonites, gigabytes, gigabyte, you know. I don't know about this stuff. We will be building a camp for this army. And usually what I normally do is not build a camp for them and just worry about that later. And never get around to it for the most part. Just don't like the idea of building some generic camp with, you know, a campfire or something like that. It just seems boring. Like I could be painting another army instead of doing that. The generic looking things don't really excite me. The fighting Harbocks are just drying before the dull coat. Then I'll be able to send you a picture. Excellent. Actually, it should be more the drinking Harbocks than the fighting Harbocks, but you know, we'll take what we can get. It should be at a camp with one of those beer wagons. And fly their fruity flag from there. See, this one's already got one hair that's out of place. It's incorrigible. Now, see, the nice thing is this one still? If it misbehaves too much, I'll cut that thing off. You know? I ain't scared of doing that. Biblical goes from Adam to Jesus, does it? Okay, so what about Shia dynasty Chinese? Is that biblical? It's not that part of the world. No Chinese people in the Bible. That's when Joe was working on his Sumerians. I'm like, that's not biblical. That's Gilgamesh-ish. Gilgamesh-ish. You have a beer wagon, but it's a sign of my Napoleonics. All right. Go back, get some more drink. I'll be right back in a few. Okay. Wow. Lots of folks here. Okay. Where were we? this color here. Painting everything in this color here. Yeah, so I added, this morning when I got up, I added the list. I added a Papal list to the list I have on my score sheet of the armies I have completed, and they're my 35th army. So now some armies get, some armies get counted for two. Like for instance, my medieval Germans, I can't field both armies at the same time, but I can do, Book 413 C and D. I just can't do them at the same time. But I'm counting those as two separate armies, so I don't know. I guess that's a lot. Maybe it isn't. It doesn't seem like a lot to me. Got lots more to go. Try to make out where the straps are on this figure. Okay. Goes there. I see where that one is. I see where that one is. The question is, what's on this side? Oh, nothing. Okay, perfect. That's why I didn't see it. It goes right to the belt. The detail on Essex figures isn't very prominent sometimes. See, there's that one hair that's just going off to the side. I'm going to cure that right now. You insolent bristle. Done. Won't be doing that again. If this was a $10 brush, obviously we wouldn't do that, but this is a 40-cent brush. You don't want to get it has a little bit of paint and it starts painting something that's outside the area. It just creates more work for you. Not that you can't fix any of it, it's just more work. You got enough to do. Okay. Probably their first war was between Adam and his first wife, Lilith. Eve was his second wife. Oh, okay. You're going to be like Don Harding gives me all the Old Testament Bible stories. I don't know jack shit about the Old Testament. I'll be honest with you. I don't know anything about it. Lilith, huh? I won't be calling Shia Dynasty Chinese biblical or pre-Vedic Indians. That doesn't really fit. Yeah, I know so little about the Old Testament that I got these guys mixed up with the Ammonites. I figured, oh yeah, these are the guys that sacrifice children. No, that's the Ammonites. I'm like, oh crap. Oh well. Can these sacrifice children too? I was going to build one of those child sacrificing demonic type statues. I'll make my own. I don't want one commercially bought. That's just creepy. I don't believe in none of that stuff, but you know, probably not a good idea to go get one of those. Sends the wrong message. This may not be true, but it's biblical. Yeah, there's just some things we're just never going to know, and that's okay. I just want to know the color of the Roman shields before any of that other stuff. We don't know that. Stop worrying about that black hole and tell me what color the Romans painted all their shields. Good morning, Sunday morning from Sunday evening. Welcome back, James. And greetings from my summer to your winter. That's what I can't get. That's what I need to do. I need to move from Australia to Florida. I'll come here in the wintertime, and in my summertime I'll go down there, and that way it can stay cold the whole time. I successfully pretty much stayed indoors all day yesterday. I need to soak up this air conditioning before the week comes up. So, just did about 80 bases for a project. Never want to see textured paint again. Enough for a couple of 48-point hot armies and strongholds. Did you catch my feed yesterday? I can't remember if you were on yesterday, where I was talking about doing looking for some fantasy rules. Not that I'm going to do it, but it's always good to get an idea and go and explore, like, who makes figures in 15 millimeter for fantasy, and then after you spend a couple hours doing that, you're like, okay, I'm good. You know? I'm good. I'm satisfied. There weren't that many, actually. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if I had a choice between doing historicals and 28s or fantasy and 15s, even though I'm a historical guy, I'd probably do fantasy and 15s. I just don't want to paint 28s. I'm not going to live that long. That's just way too much time to paint those guys. Way too much time. Forget cost. If you hand them to me, I actually had somebody that I don't know whether they were truthful or not, but they said that they wanted me to paint some of their miniatures, but they were 28s, and I can't do it, you know, and like keep them, and I'm like, I don't care about the free stuff. I just don't have that much time, you know. You should definitely visit someday. It still has a lot to recommend it. I did have you painted a couple stone barbarian army in the interviewing watch time. What would be better to do a good versus evil skirmish warband? So, what would be better would be to do a good versus evil skirmish warbands, so you aren't restricted. Demon World by Ralparth come up. Battle Valor. Yeah, the Demon World figures, they were like the mini game workshop figures. I actually think the cobblestone casting stuff looks even better. But I wouldn't want to do just any fantasy. I'd want to do it for that Atlantis world thing, which seemed like it'd be pretty cool. Because it's some historical based things. Historically inspired things. So, I think his shirt's about done. Let's go flesh this guy up. Oh, you know what? I think I missed something right here. I think having a completely empty palette where you could go in any direction is a little too overwhelming for me. it would be like analysis paralysis. I'd just never make a decision. You know, I think that like, okay, well, you should do, you know, like I was gonna build, like I want to build an army for one of those countries in that game, and have at least some kind of a direction to go in. But I don't know what I would do for rules, because I'm not playing hordes of the things. I'm not playing another perfect alignment game. I've almost had enough of this one. And take that with a grain of salt. I'm not going to go play something else, but I'm tired of these, you know, they're just very fakey, where you can't combat like this. You know, you can't combat like this. You got to be like this. You can't be over a little bit. You can't do this. You know, it's just too restrictive and artificial. So, I've played Lion Rampant. I watched a couple videos on Dragon Rampant yesterday. I was actually really disappointed the lack of stuff there was on it. I figured it would be more popular. And then, what's that game that's out that I see stuff for all the time? Fantastic Battles or something like that. It's just way too many figures. I'd want to do something where I could base guys individually, so that I could just paint guys. I wouldn't be like, well, let me get some more in because I need to mix them up to, you know what I mean? It's just like, just start painting 4 guys. If some other packs come in that look better, you can paint them too. You can intermix them as you go. Not like I have to base them as I intermix them. It's just that's a little too overwhelming, but yeah. Necromancer, elves, dwarfs, slavers, and goblins. I get the irritations of WRG, but I think will always be one of the best. That's the only irritation, really. It does most things right. It's irritating because as someone who ends up explaining the game to a lot of people, I have to keep using the phrase, well, it doesn't make any sense to me, but that's just them's the rules. And it just gets old, you know? And I get why other people don't understand it. So, it could be better, but it is what it is. If I was going to do fantasy, I would do something that's not tournament based, so I can do whatever the hell I want. And it wouldn't be a points based game, you know? And if you have a unit that has 5 figures in it, they could fight one that has 8. And the games don't have to be balanced. You know, just play it twice. Switch sides. See how you do on each one. You know, I think that works. You know, I think it wouldn't be 12 elements versus 12 elements. It could be lopsided. So, okay. Yeah, I think you could probably do something along the lines of use something like Dragon Rampant, because I like Lion Rampant a lot. I've played it a couple times and really enjoyed it. It's a bit too generic for me, but you could just make it ungeneric and just do scenarios using that. You know. Anyhow. Yeah, and then you can mark off individual casualties and stuff like that. You wouldn't have to put a bunch of markers and stuff on there. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the flesh colors. Okay, the flesh colors are the same colors as they are for Caucasian. But we just mix them a little bit differently. I think it would be better explained that the unit reforms friars to friars to maximize contact with pips. Yeah, I think it would be better as if you could just hit however you wanted, and then at the end of the turn conform. But having to conform immediately, it just doesn't feel like, you know, right. But anyhow, that's probably what I would do. If I ever do fantasy, I'm coming up with my own shit, inspired by everything. It's not like I'm going to sell the rules or anything, so I can do whatever the hell I want. Isn't the Natia Dignatum a source for later Roman shields, patterns, and colors? It is. It is. So, But I do it in 15s. I do it in 15s. Probably just base them on pennies. And then just do some tray that fits all the pennies in. Just so it doesn't take an hour to move everybody. You know, and every time you pick up something and you move them, you're moving them inaccurately. Or you get that one guy that's trying to get more out of the movement than he's supposed to. Cut his fingers off. Cut his fingers off, that cheater. Yeah, what's all those 15 millimeter figures that were made by Raul Partha? They have a lot of them, don't they? Don't they have like a fantasy line by Raul Partha? And I'm not talking about the Demon World stuff. I'm talking about other type stuff. I don't know. Maybe I can't work on that at the same time I'm doing this, or nothing would get done. Nothing would get done. And nothing getting done is really unsatisfying. This one's already gotten too big. Already gotten too big. These Essex guys have pretty good faces. They have pretty good facial features to pop out. And they're not awkward looking. I think sometimes their height's a little awkward. They're a little stumpy looking, but their faces aren't awkward looking. Which is a problem that a lot of manufacturers have, in my opinion. So... whatever happened to Warhammer Fantasy? I mean, I never played any Warhammer games, but did that just turn into the Sigmar thing? I don't know. They're constantly reinventing themselves and stuff like. I just can't see from my personality to ever play Games Workshop stuff because they embroil you with buying lots of stuff, and then it takes forever to paint it. At least for me. And then 2 years later, oh, we don't do that anymore. Now we do this other thing. I'm like, the hell? I'm not gonna just throw away my collection. That business model is not compatible with me. And it's not necessarily a throwing money away issue because, it's fun to buy things. I'll admit it. If you use them, it's fun to buy things. But my time is limited that I can do to paint this stuff. I don't have all the time in the world. Even if I did this full time and somebody could just pay me to stay home, it still takes a long time to get this stuff accomplished. So, yeah, there's 3 Game Workshop, 3? 2. 2 for sure, Game Workshop games I wanted to get into. And before I even got into them, they had stopped making them. One of them was Dark Future, the Car Wars type game. Thought that would have been cool. Now, this is a long time ago. This is in the 90s. The other one was their fantasy ship game called, I don't remember what it's called, but it was like a naval game that was with ships. Can't remember what it is. They only did that for a couple of years. And they just stopped supporting it, stopped making stuff for it. Nobody plays it. One other one. I wonder what it was. Maybe it was Epic. I don't know. That business model doesn't work well with me. I'm not going to let somebody just say, well, we don't play that anymore. Well, I guess you could just make your own damn rules. Be done with it. Much prefer metal to all this printed stuff. Me too. I like some Games Workshop paints, but their products have no charm now. Okay, I agree with you. I don't know about the charm part because I've never really bought any, but yeah. Welcome, Ben Waddy. They bloated Warhammer Fantasy battles, and the models got expensive. You had to end up buying 2 boxes to make 1 unit, and you needed 6+ units. Then it stopped selling well, and they nuked the whole thing. Yeah, that doesn't work well for me. I mean, I like all the fluff that they had. There are lots of miniatures agnostic rule sets. See, that's what I grew up with. I grew up with miniature agnostic rule sets. You either made miniatures or you made rules, not both. On the go that allow your collection to be used. Oh, to be honest, I don't like games where you max out characters and weapons, etc. Yeah, it's fun to play with things that have weaknesses. It's fun to play with things that have weaknesses and overcome them. Talisman is still a great board game. Man, I got stories about that. I bought the original game, and a friend of mine went and bought all the expansions. We laid them all out on the table, played them, and it was just like, get up, pull a card, sit back down. Get up, pull a card. And it was like, if somebody played, what was that damn character? The Prophetess. They could pull 2 cards and play 1. And, she's seeing every other card in the deck. It just, I like the art. And then there's a version on mobile. I think it's free. That I played a little bit and then realized, well, I'm glad I didn't get into this game. It's just too repetitive. I don't know. Maybe it's no fun playing it by yourself. Sure, you need social interaction with other people, but I did have the original game. Sold it. That might have been one of the first things I sold on eBay. That had to be where I got rid of it. Started painting up a Necron army for 40 Yeah, Talisman was that game when back then when it was called Citadel Miniatures, not Games Workshop. It took me a long time to stop calling them Citadel. I think Citadel's a better name. I only have one of those expansions. I play with Coruscant Miniatures. Okay. Want the feel of a Hollywood historical film, but with dragons. It's all about beer and chips and running a few characters because they die. Yeah, it was okay back in the day, but I wouldn't want to do that now. A lot of getting up and sitting down, reaching over a table. Not that I'm in that bad a shape, but I've gotten used to being comfortable. Songs of Blades and Heroes, or any song series, are great for individual games and campaigns. I've heard of that game before. Well, it's the two that are free. Fantasy Warriors by Grenadier. Is Grenadier still in business? And Raul Partho's Chaos Wars. His Armies and Hordes rules are really clever. The Blades author. Song of Blades and Heroes. Alright, we'll write that down. Hopefully there's some people that do videos on YouTube of it. I always like looking at other stuff, even if I don't do anything with it. It's entertaining. It's interesting to learn about different things. Yeah, I don't like the printed laser stuff. And, you know, I've had lots of people, man, you should get into 3D printing. I'm like, no, I got enough things to paint. And it's too frustrating. The first time something works, and then I want to make a second one, and it doesn't, and it's exactly the same steps. That thing's getting thrown across the room. I'm not doing that shit. You know? Don't bring conflict to my hobby. You know, this is conflict-free. You know, and every one of those damn 3D printers is made in red China, right? Can't buy them then. First is I didn't have a computer. I got a computer that can handle it now, but you could spread yourself too thin, you know? I mean, I would love to do this stuff. I would love to do some of that die-cast racing stuff like that guy that has the channel. But man, he spends a whole... I wouldn't paint anything. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm no longer a painter. That guy does a shitload of editing. But man, his videos are so freaking cool. It's like the coolest freaking game stuff on the internet is that. Adriel Johnson. That guy's super talented. I don't mind printed terrain, but I don't feel it with the miniatures. And yeah, I just want to paint and play. Yeah, I'm with you, James. I don't mind the terrain. It's the figures. You're a sucker and bought some aeronef and land ships. Yeah. Yeah, gotta get those machines. I mean, they make machines that are made in Germany and stuff like that, but I hear they're cost prohibitive. I just don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into the designing stuff. You know, anything else more that I do, like if I'm just gonna say I'm decent with a drawing program. No, I'm not. I don't have any experience with it, and I don't want to perfect that because it means I won't paint. You know, there's a limited amount of time that we have, you know, so. Armies and Horrors, there's no measurement. Oh, really? Each army is usually 5 to 8 groups, 3 to 6 stands. The battlefield is broken up into terrain spaces about how you attack and defend. But to be fair, I just bought it to read it. Grenadier dead, but the models are mostly still available, spread across a dozen places. Cobblestone castings remastered some recently. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, you know the thing. Let's say I wanted to create a rule set. The easiest thing would be I could take DBA, which I'm very familiar with, and experiment with different ways of contacting and skirmishers having range weapons and stuff like that. You know, nothing